If you like romance, you just need to read these books. Hi besties, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a new video and welcome to a romance book recommendation video. I haven't done one of these in so long and I'm so excited that I'm doing one because I have so many great books for you guys today that I'm so excited to share and so excited for you guys to read. So also a little sneak peek of a video that is coming tomorrow, I think. It's reading romance books for an entire week, and let me just tell you, I've had quite an amazing reading week and the week isn't even over. Like, I still want to read one more book and I hope that one book is absolutely amazing too. So if you guys don't want to miss that video, make sure to subscribe down below and turn on the notification bell to get notified when I upload more videos. And let's get started with the recommendations. Okay, let's get started with a pair of books that you need to read. You just absolutely need to read them. These are by far like one of my favorites of the year, romance books of the year, and I say pair because I have two books here. So it's basically, they are standalones, but they are from the same universe, like book universe. So the first one that you should read is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. But this book was absolutely one of my favorites of the year so far. I think it's just a very sweet romance that I just enjoyed so much. So this is a kind of a big city girl slash male in a small town. They meet in the small town and they become kind of like friends with benefits. But she is a doctor, she is an ER doctor in a big city, so she lives there. So basically the main female character, Alexis, doesn't think that Daniel, the main male character, is gonna fit in well with her world, her parents, her life, because her life is kind of a mess right now. She's getting divorced. Her ex-husband is literally squatting in her basement. He doesn't want to leave. It's a whole situation, but she doesn't tell any of this to Daniel. And like, imagine Daniel to be kind of like a golden retriever kind of guy, like a very nice guy. He lives in a beautiful cabin and things progress, and obviously Alexis starts falling in love with him and he starts falling in love with her, but it's a lot of denial until the end. So that is the only thing. But I absolutely love this book. I thought it was really sweet, the way they talk to each other and just how the guy is with her, and it's just, I thought it was a really sweet book. I don't remember exactly if this has like spicy scenes that I should say. I feel like it does. I don't know how detailed, but I don't remember it to be like super detailed spicy scenes, if you know what I mean. But it was a beautiful book. Like, I remember I finished reading this book and I was like, my heart is melting from the cuteness. I don't know. Okay, and the other book that you should read after you read this one is about Alexis's best friend, and her book is Yours Truly, because Brianna, the main character, Alexis' best friend, is also an ER doctor, but she meets the new doctor in town and in the hospital, which is, I've forgotten, okay, Jacob. Jacob comes into the hospital. He has this new job in the ER, so they're both now colleagues, but they start off rough because essentially Brianna has been working in this hospital for years and she has been like waiting for a promotion for a long time. And when she doesn't get the promotion because this new doctor just appeared out of nowhere, trying to steal the same job, the position, she just treats him so badly at the beginning until she finds out that he had nothing to do with that and that he actually doesn't even want the promotion. But it's also kind of like a pen pal situation because they write letters to each other and it's so adorable. And at the same time, it's a fake dating trope because Brianna agrees to be Jacob's fake girlfriend. And this was also very cute. I think I actually loved this one even more than the other one. I just felt like it was like the perfect ending to the world, and I loved Brianna's story, and just I loved Brianna and Jacob. Also, Jacob is like super kind, super nice. I don't know, these two books are worth a read in my opinion. Okay, the next book that I want to recommend to you guys is one of my favorite books of the year. I can confidently say this is one of my favorite books of the year, Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonin Young. I don't even know where to start with this book. I just want to say to you guys, like, I rated this book 5 stars. It's absolutely amazing. I had no idea what this book is about when I started reading it. I didn't even know it was an accidental pregnancy trope, but it's a very different situation. I'm gonna explain. Imagine the main character in a Halloween party. She meets this guy, they hit it off, and they have a one-night stand, which is kind of detailed. I'm not gonna lie. And like nothing happens. They had a great time. They like go their ways, and weeks pass. I think 6 weeks, 5 weeks, and when the main female character finds out that she is pregnant, and it is definitely Bose, the main male character. So she actually tells him to meet her up for coffee, and he agrees. He doesn't even, obviously he doesn't know anything, and she tells him over coffee, and he actually was very surprised, but not like in an angry way. He was surprised because he had actually had cancer a year before, I think. Yeah, a year before, but he was 1 year cancer free. But he didn't know that he could get someone pregnant because of the whole situation. And keep in mind, like, she was on the pill, but she didn't take the pill correctly. But then it progresses. He wants to help. They become friends. They try to get to know each other as friends. He offers Gwen a place to live with him in his house because he has a house with 3 bedrooms that he doesn't use 2 of them. So he offered kind of like a roomies situation until the baby comes, and then they could figure out what they were gonna do. So Gwen ends up moving in with Bo. They become roomies, but it's just like it's just like the most wholesome, funny thing ever. He's very sweet with her. He treats her so well. He does all the little things, all the details. He takes care of her. She is so happy with him, but they stay as friends. Like, this is it's kind of like a slow burn. And then obviously at the end they realize that they are in love with each other, and it's just a very sweet thing. It was kind of like, I love that it was a very sweet book overall, the entirety of the book. To be honest, I'm so sick of romance books that have like everything's going well and then it dips and it all goes to shit, and then oh, everyone forgives everyone and it's all good. I don't know, like, I was just so sick of that, and when I read this book I was like, oh my gosh, that is so refreshing. I just wanted a very sweet book, and it does have spicy scenes, don't get me wrong, but overall it's just an amazing book. I loved it so much. Okay, the next book that I'm going to talk about is Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cotran. This isn't like one of my favorite books that I've read this year or anything, but I wanted to put it in here anyways. So this is more of like for Christmas, so for the holidays, so keep this in your TBR for your December TBR. So imagine the main character, Ellie. Ellie meets this girl on Christmas Eve and they spend a whole day together. They literally just fall in love with each other from that day, and they have a one-night stand. Then the day after something happens, they never talk to each other again. 1 year later, Ellie, the main character, is in a very low situation. Her life is basically falling apart, and this guy comes into her life and suggests to do like an arranged marriage, like a marriage of convenience. This guy needed to marry someone to get access to his to a trust that his grandfather left for him in his will. So he's doing the whole 9, and she agrees to be in a fake relationship with this man. So one of the rules that the guy set for her is that she needed to accompany him to his family's cabin for the entire Christmas week. So that is what happens. They go up there. She's extremely nervous. Keep in mind, extremely nervous about this. She has social anxiety. She doesn't like to really talk to anyone. And keep in mind, this is very important, this guy has a sister. So they get to the cabin and she starts meeting everyone, but the sister hasn't arrived yet. And she waits, and then the sister arrives. Who is the girl? Who is the girl? It's the girl from last Christmas. So I'm just gonna leave it there. I thought it was very sweet. A lot of denial, a lot of back and forth. I feel like it was a sweet thing. It was a lot of a kind of miscommunication trope, kind of a messy situation there. Wouldn't say my favorite situation, but yeah, it is what it is. But the entire story is cute. Okay, the next book that I'm going to talk about is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. So this book, This is a chunky ass book. This book got me so hooked right from the beginning. Like, if you want a fast-paced book where something is happening at all times, this is gonna be it. Like a romance book that's just so fast-paced that you're never bored. This is gonna be it. Like, it is chunky, but surprisingly I never got bored, so that is nice. So basically this book is about Naomi and Knox. So Naomi has a twin sister. This is very important. Naomi has a twin sister, but she is quite the opposite of her. She's like, the twin sister is a complete disaster. Her name is Tina. A complete disaster, a literal criminal, addict, criminal. It's just a mess. So they haven't spoken in a while, and Naomi gets a text from Tina telling her that she needs money. She's in like a very bad situation, and Naomi decides to help her sister. She goes to this little small town, but not just any day. She decides to leave fiance at the altar, and the next day, or I don't even think it's the next day, like right after she leaves fiance at the altar, she drives to the small town to get Tina. So she gets there, she gets to the small town, she enters the coffee shop that Tina said she was gonna be in, and right off the bat something is off, because when Naomi starts ordering coffee, there is a photo plastered on the wall with Tina's face, and keep in mind they are pretty identical. So the barista starts treating Naomi so badly because he thinks that she's Tina, and everyone just hates Tina. And someone at the coffee shop texted Knox that Tina was making trouble again at the coffee shop. So Knox arrives and starts bashing at this woman, like starts screaming at her, telling her to get the hell out, and Naomi's like trying to defend herself because she's obviously not Tina, but nobody knows that. It's just a kind of like a annoying but funny situation at the same time. So when Naomi gets out of the coffee shop after a screaming match, she realizes that her car is gone. Tina stole Naomi's car. So now she's carless. So they get to the motel and realize that someone broke into Naomi's hotel room, and it was none other than Tina. But there is a huge surprise in there, which was Tina's daughter. Naomi didn't know that Tina had a daughter in the first place. Her daughter is Waylay. She is 11 years old. She's very independent. Obviously Tina doesn't take care of her at all. So Naomi's life is turned upside down, and she starts taking care of Waylay, starts to see how she's gonna pay rent, see where to live, how to raise this child. And it is a romance, but keep in mind that there are a lot of parts that have like action scenes and kind of like suspense, because Tina is MIA. Nobody knows where she is. She does so many stupid and awful things, and she's just dangerous. So there's a bunch of things going on. But I liked it. It was a good read, so I'm definitely going to read the other 2 books in the series, and I'm very glad that I read it. Okay, the next book is a book that comes out actually next week, and you guys need to put this book in your TBR. You guys need to pre-order this book like right away. This is Safety Measures by Maybe Hazel. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, so sorry about that, but this book was absolutely amazing. So this is a childhood best friends to lovers, but imagine a very different childhood best friends to lovers as we usually get with books. I feel like usually with this trope, it's like, yeah, they're childhood best friends, and then they have a big fight or whatever, they don't talk to each other for years, and then they reconnect years later, and then the story starts, and it kind of like goes between then and now. But imagine this book being, they are childhood best friends in the beginning. They do kiss when they are 15 years old, like right in the beginning of the book, but they pretend like it didn't happen. They are childhood best friends, but they have always also been neighbors, so they are neighbors, childhood best friends. So the main female character is Blaze, and then the main male character is Aries, and the book starts with the backstory of them kissing at 15 years old, and then it jumps to 6 years later when they are 21, when she is 21 and he is 23. But keep in mind, like, they didn't have a big fallout, like they have remained friends for that entire time, but just the story starts when they are adults, which I loved. So Blaze and Aries have both kind of difficult situations. Blaze doesn't have any parents. Her parents died but she lives with her grandma. And Aries has a mother that is absolutely horrible. She's a drunk, she's dangerous, has been sober and then relapses, sober again and then relapses again, and it's just a very toxic situation. And he also has a dad, but his dad basically has another family, but they have always had each other. Aries has a brother, August, that has also been part of like the trio of best friends kind of. And Blaze's grandma has a stroke at the beginning, which is very sad, but she survives. But now like Blaze has to kind of like take care of her and be there for her. And obviously both boys are also there for Blaze, so they help her. In any way, but there has always been a connection between Aries and Blaze. A lot of things happen then, and they kind of like slowly start flirting with each other more, and they start to realize that they do actually like each other. And keep in mind, this book is very spicy, like one of the most spiciest books I've read in a while, because like usually dark romances are very spicy, but I hadn't read a book, normal romance book, that had this amount of spice. So keep in mind, if you don't like spicy books, do not read this book. If you do like spicy books, then you're gonna love this one. But the whole story is them falling in love. Nothing really bad happens with them in that I actually love, but there is a whole other situation with Aries and August's mother, and she is kind of like the problem of the story, and other things happen with her in the story. So I don't feel like it has a lot of things going on, but I felt like it was a very sweet childhood, like adorable sweet childhood best friends to lovers, but make it spicy. I don't know, I absolutely love this book. If you want that type of childhood best friends to lovers, then read it. I loved it so much. The next book that I'm going to recommend to you guys is This Time It's Real by Anne Liang. This one is a senior high school fake dating trope. So this book starts with Eliza. So Eliza just moved to Beijing, and she starts her senior year of high school. And she gets to this new school, and she doesn't really have any friends, but for one of her classes she writes an essay, a very personal essay, of kind of like this whole story of her relationship with her current boyfriend. And it's just a story straight out of a fiction romance book. And she posted it online and it went viral. Keep in mind, this story that she's telling as if it's true, but the actual truth is that it's fake. She made it all up. She hasn't even been in a real relationship. So she has gone viral now. People at school are noticing her, and she's starting to freak out because like there is no boyfriend. The story is fake. And then comes into play the guy of the story, which is a kind of like a famous teen actor in Beijing, which is forgot his name, Cat Sung. And she asks Cat Sung to be her fake boyfriend because they will both benefit off of it. Like, he's gonna get exposure for the viral story, and she's gonna get the boyfriend that everyone thinks exists. It's a very sweet story, but the only thing that I wish it would have ended a little bit differently is that like they don't tell each other like, oh, like we actually do like each other until like the end of the book. But it was a sweet story. It's a YA book, sweet fake dating trope, and still I recommend it. Okay, next book that I'm going to talk about is Happy Place by Emily Henry. So, okay, this book is then and now perspective, and it tells the story of Harriet and Wynne. So, Harriet and Wynne have been dating for many years, and one day when one of Harriet's best friend tells her that they're gonna have their yearly trip to her happy place, which is her best friend's house in, I don't remember where, but it's basically a friend trip. But the thing is that Harriet hasn't told any of her friends or any of her family for that matter that she's no longer with Wynne. They were actually engaged and they broke it off. But basically no one knows that they broke up. So now they have to pretend in this group friend trip that they are still together, still in love, and still getting married. And it's a whole fiasco because They haven't seen each other in a few months, and it just took them by surprise. And it's just a whole trip, these two trying to fake date, but end up re-falling in love. But I think the only thing that I did really like about this book is one of Harriet's friends, and you get the entire story of their relationship, how it started, how it like progressed, why it ended, and how they fall in love again. So it's just a kind of like a summer read, but still, if you want to read it, it's a good read. Okay, and the last book that I'm going to talk about today is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. You guys have probably already seen this book, but it has been also one of my favorites of the year. This is fantasy. Yeah, it's kind of like fantasy, fantasy romance, but it's set in a world where gods exist. People know that gods exist, but there are two gods that are at war, and like a physical war that humans have to fight in. So there are both sides, and humans are fighting other humans, and it's just a very difficult situation. So the story starts with, I always forget the names. So the story starts with Winnow, and Winnow has a brother that enlisted for the war, and she's very sad about it. Obviously, it's a very big change and very difficult thing to hear. And months have passed, and she doesn't know anything about her brother. And keep in mind, she has been writing letters to her brother since he left, but she hasn't received any of his letters, so she doesn't even know if he's alive. And also at the same time, because her brother left to go to war, Winnow's mother absolutely just fell apart. Like, now she's a drunk. She just drinks. She doesn't help around the house. She doesn't make any money. She just does nothing. And Winnow got an internship in the most like famous gazette in town, so newspaper company. It's called the Oath Gazette, and she's basically an intern, and she's trying to get an actual job, a position to be a journalist. So here comes the rival, which is Roman Kit. Roman is also an intern at the Oath Gazette, and they both want the same position. The only difference is that Roman is absolutely wealthy. His family is wealthy and she is not. So time passes, and Winnow is having a very hard time with her life in general, so she hasn't been like 100% doing her 100% in the internship. So Roman ends up getting the job. And when all this is happening, she is still writing letters with her little typewriter to her brother. And one day she realizes that all of the letters that she put under her wardrobe vanished, and they just didn't come back. They disappeared into thin air, and she didn't know why or where. But one day she gets a letter back, and she knew that it wasn't her brother sending her a letter. So now she has a pen pal situation with a stranger where she talks about life. But the twist is that the other person on the other end is Roman Kit, her rival. But she doesn't know that this person is Roman. But Roman does know that this person is Winnow. So it's kind of like a one-sided pen pal situation at the same time. So when she doesn't get the job promotion at the Oath Gazette, she decides to become an informant for the war for another newspaper company. So she basically kind of enlists to go to war, but she doesn't actually go to war. She goes to a town that's a few kilometers off the front lines of the war, and she stays in this little town with another girl that also enlisted with her, and they stay in this bed and breakfast with another woman called Marisol. So they basically help out in the infirmary with the wounded soldiers, but they also write stories for this other newspaper company. So they report what's happening, because essentially nobody actually knows what happens in the war, because it isn't being reported on. And who arrives at the small town as well? Roman Kit. So now they're both there. They're trying to do the best they can. They slowly fall in love with each other, but then the war gets even worse and they start fleeing. But something else happens, and there is a huge plot twist at the end and a cliffhanger. and I'm seriously waiting for the next book to come out. But you guys need to get on board and read this book. It's just very amazing. I was hooked. I could not stop reading. Was very entertained. So besties, those are all the recommendations that I have for you guys today. I hope you guys have some new books to put in your TBR, or if you guys have read any of these books, please let me know what you thought of them in the comments. I'm so happy I got to do a book recommendation video because I haven't done a romance book recommendation video in a while. So I hope you guys liked it. Make sure to subscribe down below and turn on the notification bell so you get notified when I upload more videos, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!